Oh, sup. I'm currently on call. Give me a second.
Hello?
Where are you?
I'm at the sub store.
Welcome to Tales Tomorrow. I am Morrow, your storyteller for today, and with me I have some more RPG horror stories. Ever since I created my own D&D server and be playing with my friends, I don't have a lot of my personal RPG horror stories to talk about. Apparently those are a lot more underlying toxicity than I've ever expected, specifically involving my friends that are still part of this server, and somehow they splash damage from all the drama. I wouldn't call it drama, but some people would. Anyway, I may talk about it in the future. It is a little bit aggravating, but you know, we're gonna go ahead and just focus up on some RPG horror stories for today. The DM designed an encounter specifically to kill my character. I was playing Pathfinder 1st Edition campaign, where we're level 3 or 4, I don't remember, since, well, it was a year and a half ago. We were a party made up of my wizard Thessalonian specialist from the Transmutation School, a barbaro who believed the magic is bad, a mesmerist, and a dragon rider. Prior to this, I already had a couple of problems with this campaign since the barbarian refused to let me buff her, which was the point of my character. Only in difficult fights did she allow herself to be buffed because she didn't realize that I had used magic on her. While the dragon rider hated wizards and started insulting me from the moment he arrived in the group, when my character never disrespected him at any time. Since I couldn't buff the two characters that benefited the most, I felt useless in combat. Apart from that, I couldn't use magic in public even though the campaign was in Varesia, since it was illegal to use magic in public. Even when I was just prestidigitation to brush my teeth, the DM told me no, because the guards could see it, even if it was there in an alley, since the magic was super visible, or mage hand to open unsealed doors, since mage hand did not work like that. Yeah, this is ridiculous. The DM is just trying to basically roadblock you in order to not be able to use magic. In a magic-centric game like Pathfinder, to restrict magic and to not even let player use Presti in order to just like brush their teeth. Why? Why do you hate your players so much? I mean, listen, to be honest, a city that is so restricted on magic from people that are so restricted to magic because they're scared of it or something, that's a cool concept. But to restrict it in such a way, clearly the player's not doing a broad daylight saying, hey, look at me, I'm brushing my teeth, prestidigitation, blah, 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 blah. Like they're just in an alleyway trying to brush their teeth and stuff, or trying to do things sneakily out of sight. Why would the guard look in an alleyway? I mean, I guess they would look in an alleyway, but like clearly the player's trying to like set off any alarms and stuff. Why is the DM punishing them for this? We were session 6 or 7 after finishing a very difficult dungeon. The dragon rider, who had a min-max character, was a very experienced player, told us some encounters were very difficult for our level, and we had defeated the boss and only shattered minions remained on the top floor. Then we found some kind of a demon with a CR that was too high for our group, according to what the player told us. We managed to defeat it with great difficulty. I even had to use a scroll that I had brought to copy on my book. After that combat, we were already exhausted and almost without resources, and we'll open a last door with a kidnapped person. After me and another player approached to liberate her, 2 enemy monks came out of the door next to me and started combat. Okay, I'm gonna say something. I get it, punctuation's important, but please use anything but commas. A full stop would be really nice at some point, because just comma after comma after comma turned this entire paragraph into a big run-on sentence. I couldn't do anything since the room was very small and all my remaining spells were raise, so I had to try to take the 5-foot step action. It's the equivalent of disengage in 5e, but these enemies had an ability that made them immune to this, and they followed you when you were doing this, and they continued to attack me. Seeing that, I decided that I was going to receive an attack of opportunity in exchange of getting away from them, but they had the ability to grab you with attacks of opportunity and proceeded to continue attacking me, and I fell to 0 HP. Then when I was on the floor, they continued attacking me to kill me. Okay, I get it if it's like a high-level game and stuff, but this is session 6 or 7. In a high-level game, I get it. If the enemy is extremely smart, they'll be like, yeah, I want to finish him off just in case. But if somebody goes down, let him go down and let the party a chance to like rescue them or something. This is BS. I don't appreciate when DMs do that sort of thing. I'm not saying not completely kill the character. Like, you already down him to 0 HP. Give him a chance to be saved and rescued by the party at least, or roll the death saving throws and stuff. If you kill a player character, then there's no more story for that player character, which means the player now has to either re-roll or just straight up dip out of the game. Is that really what you want, DM? Probably they didn't like your character for whatever reason and just really wanted to kill him for whatever reason. They just never explained it to you and never had a conversation of, hey, I'm not sure if your character would be great for this, or, communicating with changing something about the character. They just like, your character's a threat. I gotta destroy them and kill them right then and there. When the fight ended and I died, the DM immediately said that dying was normal and that I could make a new character that very moment. But I told him I didn't feel like it and that I was going to leave the campaign. Then when the DM left, I told the other players that the combat was unfair, and I think he did it on purpose, and another person on the server who was observing told me that the DM had asked him in advance on how to design an encounter to kill a wizard, and that he had told him that I wanted to do that because I was min-maxing, which was absurd since my character was the weakest of the group, and he himself was the one who helped me design the build because I asked him to. The Dragon Rider player offered to pay for my resurrection so that I could continue playing later, but I said no, since after that I didn't want to play anymore, and the DM will probably refuse, saying that there wasn't a druid of sufficient level in the town. I commend the player for wanting to resurrect their ally, for real, that's actually really cool of them. I mean, if the entire combat was designed to kill a wizard, that's not fun. I get having some sort of counters, but designing an entire counter to kill one specific character? Why? So the player can't play? You could have just also said, hey, so could you re-roll? Because I'm not comfortable with having a wizard for whatever reasons. And since some class can be pretty powerful in long game. And yeah, I feel like maybe wizard in D&D especially could be hella powerful at higher levels. But I mean, you don't have to straight up kill somebody. You could just talk to the player and be like, hey, so I feel I can't handle wizards. Could you re-roll to something else? You could have just asked them directly, could you just re-roll instead of killing off the character and say, well, that happens, but I guess you could re-roll your character if you would like to. I'll totally accept it as long as it's not a wizard or anything. DM probably could have handled this whole situation way better. A that guy scenario. I was part of West March 5e server years ago that originally started on Kick. At the time, I was brand new to TTRPGs and got into it thanks to Critical Role. Things seemed good at first, we were allowed to roleplay at almost any time, as there were places for out-of-quest stuff. I unfortunately have a few horror stories of this West March and people in it, but I'll limit this one to someone I will call Mark. For some context on Mark, he was a friend of multiple DMs and admins. I'll call them Kane and Joy. In the West March, I was also known for where frequently trying to get broken or OP things for his character, as well as not play well with others. Now Mark used to be an admin and a DM, but both privileges were taken from him from another incident. When I joined, I made a ranger, our first ever character in any TTRPG. I was awkward and I didn't really know what to do with how to roleplay with people, but I did end up meeting my current significant other through it. Our first quest in the server went great. We completed the objective and all got home safely. The problem starts when Mark decided to show up. Mark had a level 8 or 9 Aasimar Conquest Paladin that had a homebrew rule to keep some small semblance of their previous Werebear curse. They also had a Gloomstalker Ranger. As it is a West March, people are allowed to have multiple characters so they don't have to be locked into a quest all the time. A Ranger, the Warlock, my future significant other, the Furbolg Druid, and the Warlock at the time's significant other, who I can't remember their character, went to a mission to resolve an issue with a group of hill giants attacking merchants on the road. My character had some backstory stuff with giants and even knew the language, so she proposed we talk to them to help them relocate. In comes Mark. We're talking about it for around 10 minutes before an arrow comes out of nowhere and hits the giant. Then more and more as Mark's Ranger made themselves known to everyone. The four of us just stood there, shocked as players who never even signed up for a quest, even out of character asked to be part of it, was now doing our quest. We decided to just leave the quest alone and go home. Later after that, we found out the DM Kane, who's Mark's friend, secretly did some side stuff in a PM to have Mark's Rangers secretly follow us and never told anyone about it. This sounds really weird to do. Like, why don't you just ask the players like, hey, Mark really wants to play, but he's like too shy to like ask you guys if they could play. Are y'all cool if we just have Mark invited in so you can play as a Gloomstalker Ranger? Is that okay with you guys? Instead of doing this weird setup where somebody can get introduced. Like, it's one thing if it's done for a story element and there's some sort of cool thing being set up. But from the looks of it, Mark is supposed to play an edgelord who basically sneaks after the party but doesn't communicate with them. But out of nowhere, Mark is just kind of just joins in just because. It's just like completely out of nowhere, to be honest. You'd think that's the end, but nope. After a year or so, I tried being the DM. I liked it. Anyone thought I made some beginner mistakes, everyone seemed excited when I would offer to run quests for people. I got frustrated once. The player hadn't been that invested in roleplay and seemed to just want to do some combat. Tried really hard at making a really compelling line of quests for them to do, and they would all be distracted whenever their turn would come up. I said as much, and Mark came in and started to blame me for everything. He wasn't even part of the quest. Even before this, he would harass me every chance he got, and was never punished for it because 2 of the 3 admins were his friends. Okay, no, that's not okay. If somebody wants to come in and spectate the game you're watching, like, I'm perfectly fine with it. In our games, if somebody wants to just spectate and just watch the stuff going on, just see what's happening, that's completely fine. But to come in there and berate the DM and say, you're doing this wrong, DM, you're doing that wrong, DM, and give it a pass because he has buddies on the admin team, that's not okay. Nobody should be given that privilege. And Mark is just overstepping all kinds of reasonable boundaries in the situation. If you have commentary after that, leave that for afterwards if you want to criticize somebody. Not just barging in and just start berating them right there. You're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong, you suck, DM, how dare you, DM. It's like, dude, you're not even part of the game. Shut the hell up, spectator. This is the point I actually quit playing for 6 months. I eventually cooled down and missed playing the game with my friends, so I came back and would only run quests for people I knew didn't like Mark as well. Eventually even tried to file a complaint with the admins that I was giving away EXP to my significant other and my character for next to nothing, just because I wouldn't advertise it for him to know about it. In the end, most of everyone who made this server alive left because of Mark, and it now sits dead in the ether. Not really sure I have a moral for this story, but definitely don't just lie down and take abuse from people like I did. And don't let a Mark basically berate you and just ruin things for you. And don't let somebody like Mark get away with stupid nonsense like that. Clearly Mark thinks he's so self-important and everything, and just because he has admin buddies on the server, that still doesn't make the server any better if you have some butthole coming in, ruining your fun. Or could just interject on a quest that wouldn't sign up for. No wonder people wouldn't want to play with him. I hope y'all start a brand new server for yourselves to not play with Mark or really any of the other old admins and let the server just be dead in the ether somewhere. The DM admins for that server suck because they're just giving Mark so much leeway for no reason in the slightest. There's no reason for him to just interject like this rudely or to force himself into quests he never signed up for and stuff. If Mark was a better, more reasonable, more smarter person, he would realize that he is the one at fault at all times and maybe change. But nope. Because people like Mark don't really change, unfortunately. They stay the same unless they really want to change. Anyway, let's get to the next story for today. Backseating DM chases me off on session 0 within 5 minutes. So of all places, the story starts on a Minecraft looking for group post. I have the D&D add-on which I've wanted to play for a while, and this post was looking for D&D players. Perfect, right? Turns out they meant, but really didn't specify actual play D&D. Even better. I joined the party and immediately this guy who isn't the host is arguing with someone else about why they would think the post on Minecraft's multiplayer page would be for an actual Minecraft game. I say it actually says #myworld, which doesn't make any sense unless we were actually going to be joining a world. Ask what the deal is if you're not playing Minecraft and not host explains that it's actually D&D. DM is a kid in a party who has hardly said a word over not host. I think, hey, might as well roll with that, pun intended, and see how it goes. So I say, okay, cool. I'll knock up a character sheet and roll 20 quickly. You mean D20? What? Let's go to D20, the dice. Oh, sorry. No, I said I'm using Roll20, the website to set up a character sheet. That way you can check it if you want. This starts a whole conversation where I explain the benefits of Roll20, and he keeps saying that it's the same as an app on his phone, which I checked out. It's just one of those D&D Google type apps where you can write in a creature or spell and it comes up. Handy, but completely different. Here's where the issue comes up. It's cool I found this post. I was talking to my DM today about wanting to play a Thrycreen rogue at some point, which I just feel would be awesome. Nope, you can't play that. Pick something people know. People don't know what a Thrycreen is? It's a bug. It does bug stuff. It's actually pretty cool. People don't know what Spelljammer is? I mean, I think even if you're not playing a Spelljammer setting, you can still play as Spelljammer races. I particularly like the GIF. The Hippo Man, they have firearm proficiency, which is dope as hell. I love it. Plus, imagine playing as a GIF rogue or monk. You're super stealthy or super mobile. How cool would that be? And you have a gun proficiency too. Super stealthy sniper. Pow. Anyway, let's continue. So I think, okay, new DM, fair play. I could just stick to the player handbook. So ask if there are any other books that are cool to use, and ask what others are playing. Party chat at this point has gone from 8 players to 4. Not host has no idea what comes from which book, which is fine, but he's a warforged, so I ask for clarification on what's the issues with my race. He says I need to pick something people know, and that a Thrycreen doesn't fit the setting. So I ask for more detail on the setting where a robot from 400 years in the future fits in better than a wild spacefaring praying mantis. Then he says it's not his choice, it's the DMs who decided what races we can or can't use. That was when I found out that not host wasn't the DM, it was the kid who had gotten only about 2 words in since I joined a party full of adults. Before I can even ask a follow-up question, he starts listing off every race in D&D aside from anything from Spelljammer. I could be an Aasimar, Aarakocra, a Bugbear, a Yuan-Ti, Orc, very inhuman of any of those, plus Dampier. So at this point I realized the rule was, screw you for pointing out what I tag in looking for group posts, so I politely said I don't feel like I'm right for the group, and I'll likely end up butting heads with not host a lot. Then I said, but before I go, just some friendly advice. You're not likely to ever learn anything in D&D. Player wanted to play Path of the Giant Barbarian, I'd never heard of it, so I looked it up. Sounded awesome. And a character of a little girl with a basket of flowers that goes from 3 feet tall to 10 feet tall when she rages is hilarious. And also leads to some great moments like an artificer and a paladin fighting their way out of through the lobby, and her just diving headfirst through a stained glass window as we reach outside, or staying on an assassin 4 times her size and pummeling him. I haven't heard of a Path of the Giant, but I looked it up and immediately loved the idea. Oh, fine, I'll look it up. Yes, he still hasn't bothered to look it up. Brief pause. You can't play this, it's too similar to Warforged. In what possible way? Okay, fine, you can play a Thrycreen, but I'm going to have to nerf you a little bit. No, you're not. Like I said, I'm leaving. But out of curiosity, what is it that you wanted to nerf? The Chameleon Carapace, AC 13 plus dexterity and change color as an action for advantage on stealth checks, is too similar to the Warforged integration protection. +1 to AC, and armor that can be removed against your will. And they also don't need sleep, which is the same as a Warforged. Warforged don't eat, drink, sleep, breathe, and resistant to poison and immune to disease and can be put to sleep by magic. Thrycreen don't need sleep, but it does need to chill and can be put to sleep with magic. I wanted to politely explain how big of a dick he was being, and it's worth mentioning that all this was said to me with an authoritative air of dickishness. I decided that it was best to wish the DM good luck with his first time DMing, told him I'm sure he will do great, and left. But Jesus freaking Christ, that guy. Yeah, that guy is indeed that guy. Fucking yapping like a chihuahua. Shut the fuck up, chihuahua. Sit the fuck down. Let the DM communicate all that stuff. Let the DM talk about it, get a warden. Are you the DM's mouth or something? Why is the DM not calling the shots? This stupid idiot calling the shots. Clearly, it's gonna be a fail game, I think. So, honestly, I think you did the best possible thing for you and removed yourself out of a crap situation. This was just gonna be a waste of time for you. So, yeah. Also, nothing is wrong playing Thrycreen. If you want to play Thrycreen, fucking do so, man. Have fun. D&D is supposed to be fun. Play whatever you want to play, whatever fits in a setting. Decide whatever you want to have in a setting, and make it just a general ground rule for stuff. I personally allow basically anything, and also really love the Humble Folk stuff, like all the races from the Humble Folk campaign. Plus, if you have a bunch of furry friends and stuff, the Humble Folk stuff gives a myriad of choices for them to become some sort of a bird or a creature or a fox or what have you. Honestly, I just like the idea of having more player options in general. The more player options, the better. And with that, that's going to be all our stories for today. I want to thank you very much for watching, and thanks so much for being here. If you like what I do, consider subscribing to the channel and leaving a like. Also, if the RPG Horror Stories ever goes down, or if you want to submit your own personalized horror story, email is down in the description below. I'll see you again in more Tales Tomorrow. Bye-bye.